Hey you guys, and welcome back to Soul by Gigi 101. So normally I give you reviews on TV shows and as of late, books. Now, I go to different events every now and then, not super often, but every now and then I go to events, and I thought I should start giving you reviews, my opinions on these events. If you follow me on Instagram or on Snapchat, even on Twitter, sometimes, not a lot, I do post videos and pictures of the events that I'm at and what I'm doing there. So if you haven't been able to tell by the title and probably by the thumbnail, this is the real reaction to The Real. So as you guys know, I went to The Real while I was in California for Coachella. And I just wanted to share my experience with you guys. The Real would be my second talk show that I have been in the audience for. The first being live with Kelly and Michael. I posted a video about that. I'll list in the link down below. This review of The Real is an honest to goodness opinion of my experience at the show. And mind you, I sat through 2 episodes. So all right. So they told us that we had to be there for priority tickets by 11:30, I believe it was. That's when they start letting you in. It said that the overall process is anywhere between 3 to 4 hours. Now, that process is supposed to include getting your tickets scanned, being metal detected, checked in, which that also happened at Kelly and Michael, being checked in through the metal detectors, and sitting and waiting until they're ready for you, and then obviously the experience of the show in its entirety. So if you've ever been to a talk show before, it's best that you get there as soon as possible so that way you can kind of be in the front and you're kind of guaranteed good seating, if that makes any sense. So Courtney and I got there at 10:30. And we sat there, and we sat there, and we sat there, and finally, at about 12 o'clock, they put us through scanning, and then we went through scanning. We got our hands stamped, so that way if we had to go to the bathroom while we were in the waiting area, mind you, the waiting area is at the bottom of the WB, which is Warner Brothers garage. So there's no sunlight, and it's actually very windy with all the cars driving by. It can get very chilly down there. So we're waiting, and we get our hands scanned, and then we have to fill out this waiver or whatever, disclaimer. And we do all that, and we proceed to wait. And wait. And wait. And wait. And I must admit, while we were waiting, it was kind of nice because they had music playing. They did do a contest. They had like a wall where you could take pictures and signs and stuff like that. If you follow me on Instagram, like I said before in the beginning of the video, you can see those things. And finally, after waiting for literally 4 hours, you guys, 4 hours, we finally get in. So when we get in there, they have us on this long line, and they're strategically placing people. It's television, I get it. There was a hype girl, her name was Bridget. She was a lot of fun, actually. She was very funny. She hyped the audience up. Everything was all cool. Now let's get into the actual review of The Real. I was so disappointed, and I was not impressed at all with actually being there at The Real. With Kelly and Michael, they tell you beforehand, we're going to hype you up, the applause sign, watch us from when to applaud, this, that, and the third. The same thing with The Real. The music started, they came out, we started going crazy, dancing, whatever. This is our time, blah, 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 blah. Then they go through their set or whatever, and before we had gotten there, this girl that I had spoken to beforehand was saying that they do not interact with their audience. Now, I went to Kelly and Michael, and whenever they yelled cut or scene or whatever, they got up from their chairs and they were literally in the audience interacting with you. And their set with the audience is probably the same size, if not maybe a smidgen bigger than The Real. and, you know, they interact with you. So when this young lady told me that they do not even acknowledge your existence, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they just had an off day when you went. Like, that just doesn't seem like that's how they would be, because, you know, on the show, they just seem so personable. Girl, that was a lie. So they come out, we're dancing, yada, 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 and they do their scene. And it's like, thanks, we have to go to a commercial. We'll be right back. And the production manager goes, cut. And they literally go like this. Adrienne was on her phone the whole time. Tamara spoke to Tamar, and Jeannie was on her phone. There wasn't really interaction between them, the hosts themselves. And they definitely did not interact with the audience. They didn't even look at the audience. I was absolutely disgusted. I was 100% disgusted. This went on throughout the whole entire taping. The only time that they even acknowledged your existence was if they were coming off the stage and going to the back, because you have to pass the audience, especially you're closest to the side that Courtney and I were sitting on, and you screamed at them. Honey, I ain't screaming at nobody. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. Number one, I don't consider myself a fan of anything. One, for religious purposes, and two, because I don't feel like anyone is better than me. Just because you're on a higher platform than I am doesn't mean that you're better than me. And let's call a spade a spade. If it wasn't for people like me who watched and support you, you would not be on that platform. And I was just so disgusted at the fact that they didn't acknowledge you at all. And it was just kind of like, whatever. Tamar wasn't very nice to like this girl who, I don't know, her job is like to fix them up and make sure that everything is right. They just seemed really agitated. And I was just like, you have the mitigated gall to be acting like this. Like, you guys, I was just so disheartened. I was so surprised, and I was so disgusted, and I was just over the show right after. It happened to be the show where Tia was on for the first time, and they talked about Twintuition. And yes, I have the book. Will I read it? Probably snots, because it's only the second edition of the book. And I was just really like, what? Because and while they were taping, they kept talking about how they were nominated for 4 daytime Emmys. And you would think because of that, they would like legit be more personable. So literally it happened the whole entire hour of filming. So then the hype girl Bridget said, hey, who would like to say for the next taping, we just have to tape a really quick segment. The same thing happened with Kelly and Michael, only we didn't have an option. We just had to sit there. Turned to Courtney, I was like, do you want to do it? And she was like, we're already here, why not? So we decided to stay, and that ended up being sitting through a whole nother episode of the show. And now I was like, okay, this wasn't what I signed up for, because I'm pretty sure she said it was really quick. It was a short segment, not a whole nother episode. At this point, I was completely over these girls, because it's like, I don't know who you think you are, but you got me twisted. Adrienne, you might be from Lower East Side Manhattan. I'm originally from Brooklyn. So don't let me tell you about yourself. So again, it happened again. Sat through a second episode, and they did the same exact thing. They either conversed with themselves or they were on their phones the whole entire time. Didn't look at the audience. Didn't acknowledge the audience. Nothing. I was just so completely... It's like, how dare you? How dare you treat your studio audience like that? And like, I don't know why they didn't interact with the audience. I don't know if they were having an off day, but at the end of the day, you're supposed to be a professional. I teach. If I'm having an off day, do you think that I'm allowed to go in and be antisocial or to have an attitude with my students? That's not gonna fly. It's very unprofessional. It's inappropriate, and I'd get written up, if not altogether fired, if I had acted the way that they acted. And like, I was so done. Like, if the camera was even on me for the second taping, if you look at the second episode that we shot and the first episode, my energy level is just completely whatever. Like, what is happening? Like, you really think that I'm just gonna sit here and, like, I don't even understand. Now, I don't know why they didn't interact with us. I don't know if they were told not to. All I know is that everybody else that worked on that show was more personable than the hosts themselves. I don't like the fact that that's how they acted. I don't like the attitudes that they have. I didn't think that they were very nice to the people who worked there. And you guys know, I am not about treating people like they're beneath me. And that's just my impression of what I got. Then at the end of the second taping, I guess that was like the end of it all, Lonnie came out and she was like, oh, thank you, we appreciate you, and if you want to come back out, please join us again. But I didn't feel like it was an honest appreciation, because it's like, you ain't pay us no attention, you ain't look at us, you didn't wave, you didn't smile, nothing. And now all of a sudden at the end you want to be like, oh, thank you. Like, no, you done got me messed up. I know that for me, I've personally unsubscribed to their social media and their YouTube channel. And I know that I'm only one person, but I have to stand up for what I believe is right. And I don't believe treating your audience like that. I just don't feel like that was right. I just feel like that was really wrong. And until someone can explain to me what happened and why they acted that way, I'm just not going to show my support, because I don't support people that treat other human beings like that. Because at the end of the day, we're all equal. We all bleed blood. So thank you for watching. Thank you for coming back and viewing my opinion of the real truth about the real. As always, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share, because sharing is caring. If you would like to go on my swimmable Gigi Meister Merpod adventures, you gotta subscribe. So thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting. Loves and likes ya. Bye.